Forward to the cloud. All right, thanks for putting where you're from in. We also have Blackstone, Virginia coming through in my form. So students, please let us know that you're here with this form, go.ncsu.edu/CNR majors info. And if we have any teachers, counselors, or educators, you can do the same with the Connect with CNR Go link. We're very excited to have you guys. You can also put in the chat where you're from. That is helpful. And then we do have microphones muted. You can share video or not, your choice. We are recording this session. Use that chat anytime for help. And what we will do is we will go ahead and get started. My name is Jennifer Piercy, and I'm the Director of Recruiting at NC State University for the Paper Science and Engineering program. And I'm super excited that you guys could join us tonight. And the first thing we're going to do is I will turn it over to Mr. Ed Atkins, who is an alumnus and an employee of WestRock, and allow him to introduce himself and share his screen and share a little bit about WestRock and the paper industry.
So good evening, everybody. Again, my name is Ed Atkins. I'm the technical manager for WestRock at the West Point Mill. I'm honored and excited to represent not just WestRock, but be an ambassador for North Carolina State University. I saw where somebody put there from Franklin, Virginia. I grew up in the very small town of Cortland, Virginia. At the time, it was population 802 people. And my graduating class was 7 people. I went to a very small school in Cortland called Southampton Academy that Knox has probably heard of, and then landed in the great big ocean of North Carolina State with 25,000 students. But it had a huge impact on my life as far as being able to get involved in the paper industry and really prepare me for a great career. You know, the program itself, you know, it gives you a lot of opportunities that you might otherwise not have. And, you know, we just want to share what those opportunities are. If you're interested in North Carolina State, that's great. If you're interested in the field of engineering and you don't choose NC State as a representative of WestRock, we want to make sure that you understand what careers are available. And we've got students from Virginia Tech, VCU, Miami of Ohio, Florida. So there's different schools. But tonight we want to talk to you about our experiences with WestRock and our experiences with North Carolina State. So I'm going to go through the presentation. We've got we got a student who has worked at WestRock and is currently a student at North Carolina State. And then we also have a recently hired employee that had co-opted with us for a number of terms and is a permanent employee from WestRock. She's in Hopewell. All right. So this is an opening shot of our West Point location. This located on the Pamunkey River. For those of you who are familiar with the West Point area, the Pamunkey and the Mattaponi join to form the York River. WestRock is a large company that is made up of a number of different smaller companies that have merged and been acquired over the years. So when I started my career 25 years ago, I graduated from NC State in paper science in December of 1995 and went to work February of 96. I was a member of the Meade Corporation, and the Meade Corporation was merged with WestRock and became Meade West Vaco. The West Point location was Chesapeake at one time, and then it became Smurfit Stone, and then became Rock 10, and Rock 10 WestRock merged and became WestRock with 50,000 employees globally and 300 different facilities throughout the world. One of our big focuses as an organization is sustainability. We recover over 8 million tons of recycled fiber annually, and we make, part of our business is making corrugated containers. You would generally know them as cardboard boxes. So we make 40 million cardboard boxes a day, and that's just the containers. So we're going to go into some of the products that we make as an organization and the substrates that are made at both Hopewell and West Point. But one of the big things that WestRock does that you may not know about is we make the paper and we make the boxes themselves for the pizza industry. Interesting fact for those of you who are going to want to learn more about us is our company makes 17 million pizza boxes in 1 week. So the good thing for us is Americans on average consume about 100 acres of pizza in a day. So that's good business for us. I like pizza, as you can see. And so all of the major brands we provide packaging for. 66% of the energy that we produce and consume is renewable energy. So whether that is wood waste or what we call craft black liquor biomass is used to produce steam that then produce electricity. And then we have about $18 billion in our annual sales. So anytime you see the term revenue, that's just a fancy word for sales. One of the big things locally, and it's kind of been stymied a little bit by the COVID pandemic, is we're very involved, especially in the West Point school systems. So employees with all different backgrounds, not just our engineers, from kindergarten all the way through senior class, whether it's reading to elementary students or giving a papermaker class in the middle school. We're talking about different career paths that are offered in WestRock, because there's the engineering side, there's the craft side, there's electrical, there's instrumentation, there's accounting, there's recruiting, human resources. There's all these different career paths. If you don't necessarily pick an engineering field, there's still a career out there with WestRock. So we try to share those experiences with students in our local school systems. So key component of who we are our values and our standards of behavior. Is the expectation is that we will act with integrity, be honest, ethical, and we do the right thing even when no one's looking. We treat each other with respect and earn the respect through others. We're responsible for our work. So a big word that is accountability, holding ourselves accountable and each other accountable for the work that we do, and always strive to be excellent. You know, we have a quality policy. It's fancy words, but the three key components is, you know, we want to be the unrivaled unrivaled provider and premier partner with our customers. We want to have winning solutions for our customers, and you know that's what we strive for, and in excellence each day. So, you know, we're worldwide. We talked about the 300 different facilities, and here are all the different markets that we're in. So we're in beverage and food containers. We talked about the cardboard boxes. We talked about all the pizza boxes that we make. So that covers kind of food and corrugated containers. So we're going to look a little bit closer at the products, but we're also in merchandise and displays. We're also in paper bags, extrusion, transaction cards, tubes. So, you know, we're really focused on packaging, but we also are diverse in some other things, such as packaging machinery. We develop machinery for our own organization and for companies outside of organization. If you have, you know, a background in design. So there's just a lot of different opportunities within WestRock. So when we talk about our products, you'll see here, these are examples of white top corrugated containers, and then the craft liner corrugated containers. So the substrate for those are made at our West Point facility and our Hopewell facility, which is going to be represented on our call. So, but then you'll see cups, and you'll see boxes for cigarettes, and you'll see beverage packaging. So if you've got a box of Sprite or Pepsi Cola or any of those in your fridge, and that box of the fridge pack, that paper is made at our Mart mill in Cottonton, Alabama. If you buy a prescription of white coated board that has been, you pick it up at Walmart or any number of cosmetic packaging or food packaging, our Covington location makes the paper board for that. You see the paper bags in there that you get from the grocery stores that could have been made at our Roanoke Rapids facility. And you'll see the merchandising displays. And one of the things that I thought was interesting, being a part of a big organization, you get to see all the different pieces and parts that we do. So when Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a Western game on Xbox and PS4 platform that you all may be familiar with, is when that was released at the time, it had the single highest revenue weekend of any entertainment release in history. So more than Avengers Endgame, more than any Star Wars movie that had ever been released. So a video game comes out and it makes more money in one weekend than anything else has in entertainment history. The cool thing about WestRock is we did all the merchandising display and all the packaging for that. So again, we didn't develop the game, but when it comes to advertising and be a part of that, those are the type of things that we do here. And it takes a lot of different people and a lot of different pieces and parts to make those things happen. So we talk a little bit about white top and what that is. And basically what white top is a 2 or 3 ply sheet that has a base ply craft liner and a white top hard bleached hardwood fiber on top. And we're going to take just a few seconds to go over how that container substrate, when you get a cardboard box the next time, if you start developing any interest in the paper industry, one of the things that all of the people on the call, Jennifer worked in our industry. She's a paper science graduate, Kyra and Winslow. Once you start working in the industry, you'll start grabbing packages and paper at home, and you'll start checking different properties. And if you get interested in this, which we hope you do, is the next time you get the box, you'll start seeing how it's made. So the white top liner substrate we talked about it's got pine fiber in the base sheet, and then the top ply is a bleached hardwood fiber. So this piece of paper right here is actually a 2 ply sheet. So we make that on our number 2 and our number 3 paper machines at the West Point location. We also make the corrugated medium. So when it comes off our paper machine, it's not fluted like this. When these are put together on our corrugator and our converting plants, it flutes this material and helps develop the structure for your package. And then over at Hopewell mills, they make a lot of this craft liner substrate that we're going to use. And at the converting plant, they're going to use a starch solution that glue these together. And when it comes out of the corrugator, it's going to be sent to a machine that applies the different inks for pizza boxes or any other type of boxes that you may see that we showed in the example above. And then it's going to go through a flex fold glue machine where it flexes it, it folds it and glues it, and there you have a box. So, but again, make it sound kind of simple. But when you're making 40 million of these, and we're just talking about container board boxes, when you talk about plate stock or cups that people are making, you have all these different processes. And when you come from a paper science background, or some people, and Jennifer will talk to you about this, some people who come to NC State, they do a double major with chemical engineering and paper science engineering, which opens a whole avenue of opportunities outside the paper industry. And if you like working on things to troubleshoot and figure out, and you know, the neatest thing about getting into this business is I started as a process engineer, but I got to work on mechanical stuff, and I got to work on electrical stuff, and I got to work on instrumentation and capital projects. And you know, I learn something new every day. I try to help people learn something new every day. And you know, I always said for like the first 15 or 20 years of my career, if I could figure out what I wanted to do for a living, I'd do it. And it took me this long to figure out that I'm doing what I should have been doing for a living, because I really do enjoy it. So real quick about West Point, I like to brag about West Point because it's the mill I'm located at. It's my 3rd location within the WestRock organization. As we started up in 1914, so we've been around a while. It's gone through some different names, but we still produce high quality white top. 71% of our product mix is that white top that we showed you, and it's a very profitable market. We've got 3 paper machines. One started up back in the 30s, and the more recent one started up in the 70s. So we've got equipment that we continue to upgrade and build over time. And for those that are interested, Jennifer and I will talk to you. If you're really interested in taking the next steps into engineering, you give your information out and we'll do a follow-up, get you in for a visit, show you some videos, because people who are interested in what we do, we want to help develop that relationship so you have somebody to reach out to. And then just for the West Point location, we've got 455 customers worldwide. So the West Point location, and this is a little bit older picture because we have a new wood yard now, but to give you all context, this is our site and we have a leased operation over here. Our site covers about 125 acres. So it's a lot of equipment and a lot going on that's parked in this 125 acres next to the Pamunkey River. So that is my overview. That was a lot of information, but again, really just want to give you an idea of who WestRock is, and more importantly, how we kind of fit into that. So if there's any questions, I see there's a lot of stuff going on in the chat here, which I hope is a good thing. So
that's probably mostly me. I'm trying to
okay, that's okay. That's good. So I'm going to hand it back over to Jennifer so we can hit our next thing on the agenda. If anybody's got any questions, I'm presuming they can raise their hand or put it up in the chat.
Yeah, so again, if you haven't filled out the form to let us know you're here, go ahead and do that. We put the link in. You can put questions in the chat as we go. Don't feel like you have to wait, and our team, Ed, Winslow, Kyra can answer them as we go, or we can save them to the end to answer them. I find a lot of the questions are for our current students and young alumni. So at the end, we'll have a chance to put more questions, or, you can unmute and turn your video on and ask them as well. So again, my name is Jennifer Piercy. Just making sure everybody can see my jumping graduates, right? Now my NC State. So this is NC State University. Like Ed mentioned, I'm an alumnus of the paper science program and worked in industry in a completely different sector, tissue and towel. So Charmin toilet paper, Bounty paper towel, back when the majority of you probably don't remember that they used to make colored toilet paper. So a lot of students these days are like, what, why? And to be honest, that's what I thought back in the 90s for sure. So NC State is the largest four-year institution in North Carolina. You can see the metrics there about students from all over the world, really. And, for some of our out-of-state students, it's a far ways from home. For me, it was a 12-hour drive. Now, for most of you guys, it's as close as maybe your nearest in-state institution, and maybe even closer than some places in North Carolina for our in-state students. With that large university comes so many things you can do, and Kyra and Winslow can talk about the activities they are and were involved in, but student organizations, study abroad, Division I athletics, very exciting things to do on campus. But what a lot of people think is that means every class I'm in is going to be humongous. And you can see that our average class size and our student to faculty ratio is actually very, very normal and small. And in the lower right-hand corner, this is Dr. Jeff Joins in our textile engineering program. And it was just a great picture to show that our students do get interaction with their faculty and staff. And just for those of you that might not be familiar with the area from where most of you guys are, it's a straight shot south. Raleigh is kind of the middle-ish of the state. Princeton reviews number 4 on best overall public value. One for you guys. I think we have all Virginia students on this Zoom meeting, but 9th best value for out-of-state students. And Raleigh is a great place to live and to school and to educate yourself. And we are uniquely situated. You might have heard about Research Triangle Park, but I did a little investigating to be able to present this to our out-of-state students. And some of the things that interested me are the U.S. corporate headquarters, startups, trademarks, and patents that have been awarded to companies in that Research Triangle Park area. So Technology and engineering is what NC State is known for, and it's really what our area is known for too. So many resources. And tonight we're specifically talking about paper science and engineering, and a lot of what we do is kind of educating folks on our industry. Trust me, there is not a question that you can ask me that is going to offend me. I have heard just about all of it. So students are surprised to learn that yes, paper making, using trees to make paper products, it is okay. It's good for you, good for the United States, good for the environment, and good for our future. And we'll talk a little bit about why that's so. But one thing I do like to address is most students don't really have a full grasp of what engineers do. And a lot of that is our fault, right? It's very difficult to explain what an engineer does because you can do so many different things. But generally what I tell students is you have all these products that you use in your life. It could be bridges, airplanes, roads, buildings, paper products, medicine, clothing, and processes to make them. So engineers take that product or that process and make it cheaper, faster, better, stronger, or safer, either for the consumer, the company, or the environment. We're always looking to provide value add products that are good for, consumer, company, environment. So it's taking those scientific facts and making technology, applying those facts and making technological advances. And so most folks, when you talk about engineering, have heard about the broad branches, right? Chemical, mechanical, electrical, things like that. So just a little more specifically about chemical engineering, because that is the major that we are most closely associated with. It's basically chemical reactions. If, in a paper mill, the input is a tree and the output is a flexible, strong piece of paper. And we have used chemicals to chemically pulp the tree chips to make paper. Fluid flow, mass and momentum transfer. How do you get things from one place to another? Heat transfer, thermodynamics. So we're designing and working with systems that move, transform, and react matter and energy. So within the specializations of chemical engineering, you'll find things like pulp and paper. And that's where paper science and engineering at NC State fits. We happen to be very lucky to be administered by two colleges. So at NC State, we have the College of Engineering and the College of Natural Resources, and our program and all of our students can take advantage of both of the colleges. So for our College of Engineering, about 10,000 students. We have our very own Centennial campus for engineering and companies and some other programs. Our chemical engineering program is actually ranked 20th in the world. Our College of Natural Resources, by comparison and contrast, is much smaller. So 1,400 students, 9 majors, $600,000 scholarships, $600,000 in scholarships, study abroad. 100% of our students in all of the College of Natural Resources majors have to complete an internship to graduate. Our college is ranked 6th nationally, and our paper science program is #1 in North America and #7 in the world. So we pride ourselves on providing a product that helps people with what we like to call the C's, so we can be civilized. Comfort and cleanliness, convenience, communication, commerce. Yes, there is paper in that cell phone, either in your pocket or sitting right beside you right now. So most people think, well, gosh, that seems weird. Why would you need people to do this? So everyone that's on this call uses almost 600 pounds of paper a year. And I put in the chat earlier when Ed was talking about white top and medium and liner. I said, that's paper nerds, but he is right, because if I get something that's multiply, I am going to try to peel it apart piece by piece. If I pick up a box, I turn it over to see who made it. So do that next time you grab something. So it contributes about $250 billion to the economy each year. the #2 paper producer in the world. And we make products that help people be comfortable, prosperous, and educated. So I know it's somewhat of a joke sometimes. People used to say, oh my gosh, you work at a paper company that makes toilet paper. You know, that seems odd, but think about if you ever go to visit, or people that live in countries where that is not available to them. Now you're talking about human health issues. So our program has actually been around for about 65 years. Most people say, I've never heard of this, it's new. So we were started in our first graduate was 1953. The program officially started in 1954 with the invention of our Pulp and Paper Foundation. We graduate about 30 to 40 students annually. And in 2004, we received our accreditation for an engineering degree. We do have a 40-person advisory board to support, direct, and guide us. And you can see, based on this Zoom meeting, we have a very close partnerships with our industry. So now I'd like to talk just a little bit about why you should consider paper science and engineering, but also I hope that these things help you think about your college search. I see we have some seniors, juniors, and sophomores based on your graduation dates. So these are things to think about when you're looking at your program, whether it's in the state of Virginia or whether it's engineering or not. So we have a small program with individual attention. Now, yes, at NC State, just like Virginia Tech, Clemson, your intro to chemistry class is going to be 300 students. I mean, that's the way it is at all large tier 1 research institutions. But you saw we have a 25,000 undergraduate population to be able to experience almost anything you would want. A smaller family with that 10,000 in the College of Engineering, even smaller with the College of Natural Resources. And then we've got right at 200 students in our paper science program. And Winslow and Kyra can tell you our faculty and staff know them all. We do pay a lot of attention to our students. Again, this joint effort is a display of our industry support, and we offer a lot of professional development to our students. So this is actually our freshman class a couple of years ago when they did a mill visit at the WestRock Roanoke Rapids facility. So we do some learning, some intro to the industry and professional development, but we also do fun team building things as well. One of the second reason is hands-on learning. So we've got 51,000 square feet of classroom, labs, and pilot plant space. And almost everything you would find at Ed or Winslow's facility, we have, but it's just much smaller because we really feel like the hands-on approach to learning helps our engineers put into practice the theory that they're learning in the classroom. So we do have a 12-inch wide Wolfpack baby paper machine that makes paper that our students learn on. It's not a research tool only. Another thing that Ed mentioned earlier is a dual degree with chemical engineering. About 2/3 of our students do this, and it's 1 extra semester, and you have 2 engineering degrees. And we're the only program in the country to offer this dual degree. We also provide tremendous support for finding summer internship and co-op opportunities. So let me just say that all of our work experiences are paid, and our students are getting generally a very good hourly salary. An internship typically happens in the summer. A co-op happens instead of a semester at school. And now we have some students doing super co-ops where they put the two together. So some of our students that are currently first year students, so they've been in college since August, already have offers to go do paid internships from next May until December. So they'll be working about 8 months. And the great thing is you get some experience, you find out, what you like to do, what you don't like to do, where your skill set needs to grow, and you're working on real projects that are valuable for that mill and the company. We do offer those in-house career services where students we just make it super easy. The companies come, well, pre-COVID, of course, we did it all virtually this fall, but the companies come and the students come and they interview in our facility. And our full-time job placement is 90 to 100% within 6 months of graduation. Generally, the average graduate has 2 to 4 job offers to choose from. And generally, students will ask, well, what's the difference between a paper science degree and the paper science chemistry degree? So the average starting salary, the number of offers, all of that's generally the same. The difference is the diversity. For our single degree students, usually their first job will be in the paper industry. After that, it's highly dependent upon how they performed. So there's a little more diversity with that dual degree. And I would say that more and more, almost all of our students enter desiring to pursue the dual degree. But once they have that first internship, they figure out, I really like this industry. So they might forego that chemical engineering degree for very creative options like a business minor or a process control certificate, or we've had some do industrial engineering minors. So something that broadens their skill set and makes them very valuable in our industry. And so some types of jobs for our graduates would be manufacturing, so process and project engineering. Also what we call our allied industries, those industries that support our paper industry. That could be with chemicals, with equipment, with consulting, different types of services and products that are provided into our industry. Also, sometimes we have students that will go into research and development, graduate school, and into management once they have proven themselves as a good thinker, problem solver, and engineer. And so companies that hire our graduates, I mean, of course, there's companies you would recognize, a WestRock, International Paper. I worked for Procter & Gamble, and Kimberly-Clark is one of Procter & Gamble's main competitors, but also some you might not expect, like the Patent Office, Research Triangle Institute, Nestle Purina. And another reason about our degree that is so enticing for people on the front end is the high average starting salary. Now that's a great draw, the security, the salary, but we also tell our students that generally no amount of money is worth doing something that you just don't enjoy. So we are really passionate about helping our students find what it is that they really enjoy, because we want them to find the career that they're satisfied and happy with. And then special opportunities, so study abroad, international opportunities, undergraduate research with our professors. And we do have a paper international experience where every other year we take a group of students, and here's some pictures in different locations, and we go to a part of the world where the paper industry is different. So our students can learn to be global thinkers. They learn how the US can compete. And we also, while we do visit paper companies and do all of the educational stuff, we do a lot of sightseeing and just cultural immersion into the particular country where we're going. And then finally, we do offer a great many scholarships. So when our program was set up, the industry committed to support our program with alumni support, industry support, gifts of money, gifts of equipment, hiring our students, but also a large endowment so that we could have scholarship money to attract high achieving students, high school students who are thinking about engineering. Something for this crowd that is very interesting is our Paper Super Scholars program. So for our students that are out of state, because our geographical diversity is a very important tenet for us. So we desire to have students from all over the Southeast region of the US. We have a Paper Super Scholars program that provides increased awards and up to a full ride for a student each year. And we work with our scholarship and financial aid to really try to find scholarship support for these students. Our goal, while we don't always reach this goal, but our goal is so that what you would pay to come to NC State would be equal to or less than your home in-state institution, which for you guys would be Virginia Tech. So the future, here's where we talk about how this is great for the environment, right? So the paper industry is really leading the way in recyclable, renewable, sustainable products. And it's been that way since we started. So one of the things that your generation needs to do is help us to become more sustainable and reduce our dependency on petrochemical-based plastics. So some things that our students are working on is turning biomass, which again, if you think of trees as an agricultural crop, like a food crop, we're growing them so that we can use them, but we can grow them again, into fuel, energy, plastic structures, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, everything. And then in the College of Natural Resources, there's just 3 slides I wanted to show you about some programs that we have that are somewhat linked to paper science and the paper industry. So we also have a sustainable materials and technology degree. I kind of liken this to the mechanical conversion of biomass, where we're the chemical conversion of biomass. Environmental technology and management, really working with the health, safety, and environment. And I know some of our ETM grads have ended up employed by WestRock. And then also forest management, because obviously the successful growth and management of our forests are important to the longevity of our industry. And again, we are recording this. We're going to send you guys some emails so that you can have some more in-depth conversations with us. But a couple of important points for mainly for our seniors. So November 1st, which is coming up here, is our early application deadline. You must apply by that deadline. So applications that are in by November 1st are given priority consideration for scholarships, and that's where we want you to be. So I know NC State has a January 15th deadline. Do not do that, please. Our paper super scholars must have applied by November 1st. We also have, in this COVID virtual environment, I had a couple students build a YouTube channel where we've got some virtual tours, a bunch of resources and videos that we've linked from even external sources, other companies, alumni, information sessions, things that you can learn about our industry and our program. And then also, just so you know, we accept the Common or the Coalition app. We're looking for strong grades and competitive coursework. Testing is optional this year due to COVID, but also the admissions officers are looking for your background and opportunities, your stories, and the interest in the program that you're applying for. And what I will say is that if you have any questions about your application, how to make it stronger, any pointers, tips, whatever. Once you receive an email from me, email me back and say, hey, I'd like to set up a time to chat. Generally, this is what NC State is looking for. Now, remember, when we show these mid 50%, it means 25% of the population of the incoming freshmen is above and 25% is below. So I hate to show these metrics because NC State really is trying to look at the total person, right? Not just these numbers, but what are they doing outside of the classroom? What do their essays say about them? And then once an applicant is admitted, that's when the scholarship portal opens up and we have a single application that puts our students in the running for university and college-wide awards, and being co-administered, our students can be considered for awards from both colleges, departmental programs, and paper super scholars. So here's my contact information, and I will leave that up as I allow Winslow to unmute and introduce herself, and she's going to share a little bit about herself, and then Kyra then we'll open it up for question and answer.
Thank you, Jennifer. Hello, everyone. I'm Winslow Gurney. I'm very recent alumni, so I actually graduated May 2020. So very, very recent. Amidst the COVID pandemic, I was able to go to my first full-time job here at WestRock. So I work in the Hopewell facility. It's about probably an hour away from West Point. So still located pretty close. I actually live in Richmond, which is really nice. not a lot of mills are located near a metropolitan area, so I got very lucky. But as far as hometown, I'm from a very small town outside of Greensboro, North Carolina. It's called Stoneville. And I majored in paper science and engineering, and I did a business minor. My business minor was mainly funded through the Phillips Family Leadership Incentive. So I did take 5 years to graduate. However, that 5th year was covered through that scholarship that I got my senior year of college. So even if you don't get scholarships, going into the program, there is a high likelihood that you will get scholarships throughout your years in college, either through NC State or through TAPI, which is a technical association for pulp and paper industries, and they provide scholarships to our students. And so things I was involved in campus life, I did pep band for, I think, 2 semesters. So I was only in the band for the basketball game. So it was super fun. I got to meet a lot of people. I was involved in TAPI in the paper program. Yeah, I think I helped out with Jennifer a lot. I got looped into doing Pulp and Paper Foundation things. But I really did a lot with my internships and my co-ops. So I did 3 internships with WestRock and 1 outside of WestRock. So I worked in Covington, Virginia, which is also another Virginia facility that WestRock has. It's closer to West Virginia, but beautiful. It's located in the George Washington and Jefferson National Forest. So it's a really pretty area. I worked there my freshman year. Then I worked actually in Richmond in our corporate office here, doing procurement, which is way out of engineering, process engineering. It's more of like, how do we get materials in and out of the mills, and working with companies to provide those materials to our mills. And then I worked for a tissue company down in Shelby, North Carolina. And my final internship, I worked with the Capitals Projects teams based out of Atlanta, working on building a paper machine from the ground up, which is a really cool project. Paper machines cost a lot of money to make. And so it's a lot cheaper most of the time for companies to kind of like update the machine that they already have instead of building a new one. However, the financials of this was that building a new machine would be better. So I was actually able to work on that. It was really an amazing experience. And really, I would say that a lot of my experience and a lot of everything that I was able to do, NC State provided and helped support me. If you continue down this route, I'm sure you'll meet Dr. Bird. And he is our undergraduate coordinator, and he talks about kind of like the 3-legged stool, your friends and your family, and then paper science is really the other support that you get in college. And it was kind of intimidating for me. I grew up being a big NC State fan. My dad went to NC State. My mom went to school in Raleigh. So I was born, bred, Pack. But coming to NC State was a little intimidating. I'm from a small town, 5,000-ish people, going to school where 5,000 people is in one college. So it's kind of intimidating. And what really drew me to the paper science program, not my parents pushing the 100% job placement rate, but what really drew me personally to the program was the just sense of community and family that you really feel when you go into the program. I said I helped out with pulp and paper events. I would continually help, speak to students who would come in, super scholar students at the university while I was still in school, and just, I really would take time out of my day to do that, because the program meant so much to me and they supported me. And that's why I'm here, speaking tonight, because it is really an amazing program that helps you grow and really cares about your success. And you also see that in the paper industry too. I wouldn't say that's like, that still continues outside. Other paper industries, we'll all meet up at, pulp and paper foundation events, and you can see people from different companies. It's not kind of like a rival thing. It's like, oh, hey, old friend. It's just a really nice community, and that's really what I thrived in. And so I chose my full-time job. I wanted to be closer to a bigger city, and kind of closer a little bit to home. So it's not that far away from me to go to Raleigh. It's about 2.5 hours, so really a good stretch. For y'all looking at college, it's far enough away from home, but not too far, which is nice. You don't ever want to get too far away because the dining halls do get a little tiresome. Home is nice. But I really like the area and the location and the people. Like I said, it's just a community feel, even throughout like WestRock, and throughout the mill. And yeah, I think I've kind of talked about what I love best about the program. I remember the exact moment that I spoke to Jennifer and knew that I was going to be in the program. And it's something that I just keep with me. And it's definitely like, I don't know where I would be without this program. So it is a really special program. And I've had people, my boyfriend went to NC State, my sister goes to NC State, and I know a lot of people outside of the program. And it's really a unique program that helps you, that really molds you for success. They give you all the tools, all the resources, all the leadership development. It's really unrivaled. It's really, really amazing. So yeah, I hope, and let me know if y'all have any questions in the chat. But yeah, thank you.
All right, so I'm Kyra Attridge. I'm from New Kent, Virginia, so a little bit outside of Richmond. I'm a junior in our department, and I'm also minoring in business administration. So while here at State, I'm involved in TAPI, which Winslow touched on a little bit, and I'm also on the pre-night committee for that. So before our companies come in and interview with us, we have a pre-night so that they can come in and meet us, and we can hear their spiel and see if we'd be a good fit for them, and they can start to feel if we're a good fit for the other way around. And those are typically catered as well. So my job on the pre-night committee is to get that all set up. So that's what I do there. I'm also a mentor for PSE freshmen. And then while I lived on campus my freshman year, I was a part of the engineering village. And then when I'm not at school, some of my hobbies I enjoy is sewing. I like embroidery. When we're not in the middle of a pandemic, I love going to concerts. And then I recently adopted my dog, who you can see right there. Her name is Winnie. So she takes up pretty much all of my time now. So my previous work experience, last fall, I worked for International Paper at their mill in Mansfield, Louisiana. And then I've spent the past 2 summers at West Point's WestRock facility. And I'm happy to be returning again for a 3rd summer there this year. And then, so why I chose NC State, I'm actually really happy to be here tonight because this is how I got roped into paper. My junior year of high school, at this point, I knew I wanted to do engineering. I really liked math and science, but I wasn't quite sure where I wanted to go or what I specifically wanted to study. And I saw that State and the mill had partnered up and were doing this. So I figured, why not? I'll go, I'll check it out. And I was digging everything they were saying. I liked the hands-on factor, that I wouldn't be stuck behind a desk all day, that I'd get to be improving the environment and also focusing on improving our performance and production. And I just knew that with that setup, I could go home every day feeling like I made a difference. And that really spoke a lot to me. But the minute that I really was like, all right, this is what we need to do, is when I walked out on the machine floor and saw my first paper machine for the first time. I instantly was just like, okay, this is it. We're going to NC State, we're studying paper, and this is where we're going to work, because I knew that this was the work environment that I wanted to be in for the rest of my career. And now I'm here, so I'd say things are going on track. So I'm pretty happy about that. And what I really like about our department is that right from the get-go, you're focused on a job. A lot of other majors here, I've got friends that are also in engineering, but not in paper, and they're juniors and they haven't had an internship yet. They don't quite know what they want to do yet. And I had my resume turned in before I had even shown up at school. I hadn't even moved in and my resume was submitted. And I had interviewed with companies and had a co-op offer and an internship offer all before I even took a test here. So right from the get-go, even as a freshman, you're getting that emphasis on, all right, what are you doing after school? What are you going to use with this degree? So I really liked that and appreciated that. And even in our classes, you're not going to have to worry about doing busy work while in your paper classes. It's all targeted towards stuff that you can use in the industry. And then we have a ton of networking events as well. We've got banquets throughout the year, and we've got our pre-night. So there's a lot of face-to-face. Nowadays, it's more face-to-screen interaction with industry members. So it's all really great. And this program has just given me so much. I'm an out-of-state student. I'm from Virginia. We don't have any colleges that specifically offer a paper science major there. So thanks to our foundation and all of our scholarships, I'm able to afford to go to state and study paper because it got me down to an in-state tuition. And so between that and my internships, I'm going to be able to graduate with a pretty small amount of debt, which not too many people can say these days. And it's just, we have so many opportunities to network and build your career. And so you feel like rather than having to worry about companies wanting you, you're graduating and you're like, all right, which companies do I want? And that's just not an experience that most people have. So I'm super excited about my decision. And I hope that you guys make the same one. So if you guys have any questions.
Thank you, Kyra and Winslow. So we will offer you guys to put questions in the chat, unmute yourself, turn on your video if you want to, ask those questions. I'm definitely happy to stay on. We kind of plan for 7 to 8, so this is perfect. But if you want to stay on later and ask questions, that's fine. And Ed, I'm just wondering if you saw the question in the chat.
I'm responding.
So I'll let you, so I think the person is asking offer tours of facility, meaning the WestRock facility.
Yeah. So for the question on facility tours right now with the pandemic, we aren't doing that. But one of the things Jennifer and I talked about, if you're interested in getting a group of students on a Zoom call or Teams call, what we'll do is we'll take you on a virtual tour. We have excellent video that I think Kyra was actually, Kyra, weren't you involved in developing that? Were you on that team? I can't remember. No?
No, sir, that one was a little bit before my time.
Okay, yeah, so they work on so many different things. Our co-ops actually developed the video, and it's a process overview from the forest to the shipping department and everything in between. And I think we can give you a really good idea of what we're about at West Point. And then once the pandemic's passed, we will bring you in for a lunch and a tour, whatever school system you represent. If you're closer to Hopewell, Winslow will be willing to do the same thing. You just let us know how we can help you, and we will help.
Yeah, and I will be sending some resources out about some virtual tours we have online at NC State, and we've actually got some time-lapse videos of facilities being built. So we've got a lot of resources there, so I'll point you guys to those. And then another question in the chat is, how difficult is it to double major or minor in something like computer science? So I can joke with Knox since I know his dad, but it just depends on how long you want to be in school and how long you want your dad to pay. No, one of the things that we encourage our students to do that have an interest in computer science is our process control certificate. But we generally, a minor is going to be 1 extra semester's worth of classes. but we really try to work with you because, of course, computer science, process control, data analytics, all that stuff is, you know, just something that our industry really wants in our students. So something, I don't know if Kyra or Winslow did this, but a lot of our students will take one class online when they're doing an internship or a co-op. So that's something that's possible. So we're happy to work with you to say, what can we move around to try to get that still in the 4 to 4.5 years, because a lot of our students are coming to us with AP and dual enrollment credit. So we're happy to work with you on that. Generally, again, a minor is going to be an extra semester, so it's like 15 to 18 hours, but our goal would be to kind of put it in your already existing time so you're not in school any longer.
Hey, Jennifer, real quick, I think you said was it Knox who asked the question?
Mm-hmm.
So the way I would answer that, it really depends on how you want to get into the field. And the reason I say that is we have a process control engineer by the name of Jay Burkhardt. He's a recent hire, was hired within the last year from the University of Maine, chemical engineering, paper science certificate. He has a passion for process control. He has a passion for programming and putting systems in place. And he has got a wide open career. He is able to do things and work on these types of projects to make our process and company better. So I think it really, and he's very much into Bitcoin, and he's very much into a lot of different things when it comes to computers that I'm not. So if you're interested in doing that type of work in the paper industry, my suggestion would be getting the chemical engineer background with a minor to do that. If it's the other way around, I don't even know if I would focus on doing any type of engineering. I'd probably just focus on the computer side of it. With all that being said, if your dad, either one of you would like to reach out to Jay and talk about his experience, just let us know and we'll get you his contact information.
Great minds think alike, because I just put that in the chat. And that really goes for anybody. If you have questions, I certainly don't know all the answers or have all the experience, but what I do have is this great network of alumni who would be willing to talk to students. So again, you're welcome to stay on if you need to drop off. We totally get it. It's 8 o'clock. We're so happy that you joined us. We will be sending you an email, but if you have any other questions, you can unmute and ask them or put them in the chat.